Camera A rolling.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, statement, take one.
Okay.
Does he have to do that whole thing over again, though?
No, you're
Okay.
I got fired up there. Yeah.
When we talk about electrifying all of DC, it's not just because electricity is a safer, healthier, and more affordable energy source. It's also because widespread electrification is the clearest path for meeting our ambitious and critical climate goals. Washington, D.C. has a law stating it must reach carbon neutrality by the year 2045. The only way to get there is to drastically reduce our emissions by mid-century. As an urban jurisdiction, most of DC's emissions come from the building sector, roughly 75% in fact, and most of the building sector's emissions come from the use and burning of methane gas, a super powerful greenhouse gas that has more than 80 times the warming effect as carbon dioxide in the first 20 years after its emission. It leaks in our homes, from our stoves and boilers, even when they're turned off. There is no meaningful way to cut emissions from gas without transitioning away from it. We are lucky to have an alternative energy system in place to meet our cooking, heating, and power needs. That's where electrification comes in. Electric systems, be it your lights, induction stoves, or efficient heat pump HVAC system, can all be powered by electricity that is increasingly sourced from clean and renewable energy sources like solar and wind. All over the country, the movement for electrification is building, and DC deserves to be part of this wave.
My name's Sue Balasubramanian.
My name is Cerise Elaine Turner.
My name is Jim Beck, and this is
Joy Ferrante.
And we put the final touches of electrifying our home in January of 2022. We were inspired by facts around the climate crisis we're facing, and we were inspired by government signals and private sector signals that this is doable and isn't overboard, costly, and going to break the bank. When we finally wrapped up the final touches of electrification, it felt very good. Later that day, our dear friends from Washington Gas removed the gas meter to break up our relationship with fossil fuels on this residence.
Yeah.
That felt great. But between our and our neighbor's house, we would smell gas leaks periodically. That's scary. Houses are blowing up. People are being exposed to toxins. We have access to the information, and we've got some of the financial means. Not everybody does. That's why we were fired up and thrilled about different organizations, CCAN, Sierra Club, Interfaith Power and Light, different organizations saying, you know what, let's get something where everybody can benefit from this transition.
I think now it's easier. The city helps all the more now, with the Healthy Homes Act especially. There
There are supports to allow everybody to benefit from these types of transitions. Cleaner indoor air, lower bills, for the immediate, and then everybody can also contribute to addressing the climate crisis that we need to.
Let's make these big, bold moves to make a difference.
I got solar panels for the house a couple of years ago, and have really appreciated the idea of being a little bit more energy independent, and also just being able to use more sustainable forms of energy for my house. And I did have some gas around for my heating, for my stove, and for my water heater as well. But I also just had a little bit of a fear of some of the safety hazards around having gas in the house. And so I also really like simplicity in my life. And so just the idea of having generally a more sustainable form of energy that I could really just run off of my solar panels, because I produce a lot more than I actually use, was great, and it's more affordable for me because now I don't have a gas bill. I definitely see my electrification of my home fitting into DC's overall carbon neutrality goals, because I'm one home of many homes, and in order to reach those goals, we all need to contribute to it. I have been a resident of DC for a long time, and really believe in making sure that we can sustain our communities, and having an energy neutral home is an important part of that process for me.
I was inspired to electrify my home when I came across a contractor who happened to be a solar panel installer. He told me to reach out to DCSEU, that's DC Sustainable Energy Utility. So I did reach out to them, and that's when they told me about the Affordable Home Electrification Program. They were very, very friendly, very patient, explained everything. My water heater was gas. It was probably over 30 years old. And I was so relieved because I knew eventually it was going to cause issues. It was going to break down. And this happened at the perfect time. I got a brand new 50-gallon electric water heater. And it saves me on my energy costs. You know, if you're dealing with DCSEU, no fear. They'll answer all your questions and even questions you may forget to ask. I trust them. And that's not easy for a senior to say because, you know, seniors are very vulnerable to lots of scams. I have 100% faith in them. I'm happy with the results. I've been living with this, you know, with my new appliances for a year. I have absolutely no complaints because they go above and beyond. There are so many benefits on top of benefits. So get off that fence and get with the program.
The mission of the Festival Center is that we're a faith-based community center that is designed to come alongside nonprofit organizations, justice-seeking organizations, and to help build movements for justice while also raising up and mobilizing faith leaders to serve effectively in those movements. The way we've really focused on electrification has been through the renovations that we went through about 2 years ago. At the heart of our mission is that we're hospitable, that we focus on justice, and that we're welcoming and are a good neighbor to the people that live around us. We knew that gas appliances cause all kinds of problems in terms of health. They're more expensive, and they're just simply they have a greater wear and tear on the building. Electrification is simpler, but also it just is simply better for the environment and better suited for us to live out our values, which again are to be in solidarity with people, especially those who are directly impacted by injustice. And injustice often happens at the hands of the gas lobby, the gas companies, who are focused on profits and not people. We want to do the opposite. We want to focus on people. So electrification for us was a no-brainer. To folks who are on the fence about electrification, I think just weigh in a reasonable way, talk to folks who have made that kind of switch, hear the pros and cons. And I'm confident when there's just simple reasoning, using numbers, using just the values, listening to the values that are associated with it, I think overwhelmingly people are going to choose electrification over gas.
If I could say one thing to folks around electrification and some of the benefits, it's hard to choose one thing, quite honestly. There's so many benefits, but being able to have a much more holistically electrified home makes me feel good about my contribution to the planet for my generation and for generations to come.
40% of the U.S. greenhouse gas emissions are impacted by kitchen table decisions.
One thing, something that helps us in our journey of trying to make a difference with minimizing our effects on climate change, to see choices as non-negotiable. There's so many options out there for us these days. We said we're gonna commit to renewable energy. And so we tried to not see the other option as an option. I want my money behind this choice because this choice matters. So then we could go full efforts ahead in going with electrification from the car to the home appliances.
Do I now look into here?
Yep, that's the part where you.
Electrify everything.
Electrify everything.
Electrify everything, baby.